I'm an icon. But by the way, my sentences are not forming correctly.
Right now.
We're trying to be... What's the word I'm looking for? Low waste.
Conservative.
We're trying to conserve waste. That sounds just so wrong. Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm taking my hologram back to Best Buy.
Let's take a time out.
This is so chaotic. It makes me sick. Where'd she go? Oh. Hey, hot boys and hot girls. Welcome back to Hot Girl Kitchen.
I'm Melissa.
And I am Matt.
And
ew, that was so freaky.
Today, we are making you a fabulous, a little bougie soup. And you know, how could a soup be a little bougie? But I would say...
I think Melissa's a hologram too, it seems. We've been transported to the Bermuda Triangle.
We're making you a roasted poblano soup.
A bougie, delicious soup.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like soups can be bougie. I feel like it's not a big surprise.
Yeah, when you go and you have like a multiple course meal, I feel like
a lot of times the soup is a
fancy little soup is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is perfect if you're trying to impress someone, like a girl, and you need something to add in with your whatever dinner you're cooking. This is a fabulous little starter.
Maybe use less garlic. Oh my god, this wine is literally in the middle of the shot. They can't even see our ingredients. How dreadful.
And on that note, I guess we'll get into our ingredients. So because this is a soup, you are going to need broth. Now, you could be really bougie and make your own broth.
But don't, because knowing you bitches, it wouldn't be bougie. It would be, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't even know the word for it.
So
I don't know if people realize how dreadful making broth is.
It
you
takes
have to have
like 2 days.
a dead animal. You have to have a carcass of a dead animal.
It takes like 2 days.
Yeah, with the carcass of the dead animal.
Mm-hmm.
Which, where do you find that? On the side of the road?
You can get like an oven chicken or like a whole...
Yeah, but you have to eat the chicken. Like, I don't eat all that. All those
You
pieces.
could put it in with the meat. I make bone broth that I put in, like, I get oxtail and I get like chicken and don't...
Right. You don't eat the meat. What do you do? Throw it out?
No, I cook it in the broth.
And then what do you do with it?
Well, you have to, when you drain the broth, you have all the stuff in there and you throw it away.
So you throw it away, is what I was saying. Anyway, so yeah. So look at all the waste.
So, being this is a soup, you are going to need your broth. We're going to do a large box of chicken broth, and I have also some vegetable broth we'll add in. It can be whatever flavor broth you want, really, because the star of the show is the poblano. So
period.
That is...
What about bone, if you're trying to be healthy?
Well, bone broth, when the bones are coming from an animal, though.
So?
Like, this is probably a bone broth, technically. They probably threw it.
I feel like if it was, it would say bone broth.
Whatever. Do whatever you want. Put water in there for all I care. Do whatever your heart desires.
Okay.
So, prior to, right at this very moment, I roasted, I want to say 8 to 10, I forget the exact number, but it's like 8 to 10 poblanos in the oven. And I have them here already chopped up, took most of the seeds out, and I peeled the skin off. So, to save us some time, I did that prior. Because soup takes a while anyway, so I wanted to make sure that we are conservative with our time as well as our ingredients. So, I usually get them at Market District, but today they really let me down, so I had to drive to Whole Foods. They almost let me down too, but they were in the back. So, Whole Foods is a safe bet as to where you can consistently get poblano peppers.
I hope that these subscribers at home, or our new viewers that need to subscribe still, are moved by this touching tale of bravery. I mean, I don't think they realize what we go through.
Yeah.
Preparing for these, to bring
I
you
thought
guys
I was
content.
going to do one trip to one store and get all my ingredients.
And it turned out to be a whole day.
Yeah, I had to drive across the city.
Across town.
Quite literally. 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. That's some time.
Thank God you have nothing else to do.
I did put off working.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully none of my bosses are watching this. So.
Girl, they're not subscribing.
You're right.
Yeah, they don't.
Actually, I think Parker.
Oh, well, he doesn't count.
Okay.
He's like a cool boss.
He's not a normal
He's not a real boss. He's a cool boss. He's a friend.
So, the Poblanos.
And let's be real, he clicked out by now. He didn't make it this far.
The Poblanos. Well, actually, he's a vegetarian, so maybe
So
he
he
watched
might,
this one.
Yeah, maybe skip the chicken broth then. Just stick to the veggie broth.
So poblano pepper isn't necessarily hot. I would give the flavor profile as more of a smoky. Would you say that?
I feel like, yeah, but it varies. Like, you can get a hot one.
You can get a hot one. But you're going to obviously kind of
tone it
down with the cream. Oh, I forgot an ingredient. Oh my god, this is awful.
I'm telling you, our holograms are glitching. It's unreal.
So, we're going to tone down the spicy with not only some half and half, but I have a little bit of cream cheese. Now, this is the first time that I'm going to try the cream cheese in the soup, but I think that this will help us make it even creamier, help the flavor. It's only going to make the soup better, in my opinion. So, you're also going to need some frozen sweet peas. I mean, I say frozen because, do you ever see not frozen peas?
I don't ever see peas in general. It's just not something I see.
Okay.
I'm suddenly blind.
All right. So you're going to need a bag of peas. You're also going to need, this is almost, I had a very large onion, so I didn't use the whole thing, but this is a sweet onion chopped up. Garlic. Now, you know we love garlic on this channel, so I grab a handful out, and that's what I'm doing. You can do however.
Garlic to taste.
Yeah. I would say do at least 6 cloves. You're also going to need some almonds.
Now that's interesting.
That will give it a little bit of a nutty complex in there. I mean, the almond amount is a little weird because it's such a hard, thick thing that you're blending into soup. So it's like, if you do too much, then it's like overpowering.
It's like gritty.
Yeah. So we're just going to do a couple, however many that is, like 10 or less.
Melissa seems to be having a counting problem today.
Yeah,
she couldn't count the peppers. She can't count the almonds. Poor girl.
I can't count. I also have some grass-fed butter that we're going to cook the peas and the onions in.
Is it important that it be grass-fed and not just...
I mean, it could be regular butter, but we, in this household, have switched over to just grass-fed.
News to me.
You are going to need some garlic salt and some red pepper flakes, and we'll probably add a little salt and pepper to taste if I feel like we need to add any more spice.
Calabrian Chili Oil? Or is that not in this?
It is, but that's to top. So I actually was also going to get your opinion if we wanted to maybe throw some jalapenos on top. So we are going to, the presentation is also part of this soup. So after the soup is said and done, we're going to probably do a little drizzle of Calabrian chili oil and maybe, if we're feeling it, a couple slices of jalapeno. I think that might be...
I'm sure we'll be feeling it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure we mention it because, you know,
when
they're getting their ingredients prepared, I don't want them to leave
We'll make sure that's in the description.
Yeah.
And also, you'll definitely need some extra virgin olive oil as well. But
as always.
You always do. So right now, like I said, we already cooked these peppers. I would say they were in the oven at 350 for, I'd say at least 20 minutes. Just really cook them in there, and then you'll look at them and see they're blistered, and you'll see that some of the skin may start to like break open. And then I let them just cool down a little bit because you have to like manhandle them to like, you know, take them apart. So you're just going to take all the seeds out, the stem, and then chop them up in a rough chop after peeling the skin off. And then we're ready to move on to the oven. We're going to cook our peas and our onions, and things are going to get moving. So right now we have our extra virgin olive oil and some of our butter melting in a pot, or a pan, I mean. relatively large pan because you are going to add in quite a few ingredients in here. So we're going to start with just our sweet onions. Throw those in there. And you don't need to really brown these too much, but you want them to be nice and soft and fragrant. That's how you'll know they're starting to become done. We'll give these about, I want to say we'll give these 5-ish minutes before I add in the peas. So give this a little time to cook, and then we'll add our peas in. So as you can see, we're getting some browning on the onions. They're nice and soft. I would say we cooked these for more like 10 minutes because we got lost in conversation.
Yeah, that'll happen when you are so conversational and so exciting to speak to, like we are.
So we're going to add in our peas, and these you can go ahead and add straight frozen, but I actually had these in the fridge today, so they're not super frozen, so they might actually cook a little quicker than a frozen peas. So again, you're going to give this a few minutes to really let them cook in. And like I said, the roasted poblanos are already roasted. So we are going to end up throwing those in here for a few minutes as well to really get everything mixed. And that can be definitely towards the end because they are already cooked. So we added the poblanos in. As you can see, I took out half of it because we are going to start blending up. So after you cook your poblanos with your peas and onions for a little, throw them in your blender or whatever you have and blend. That was intense.
This is so chaotic. Ow!
I feel like
this is not necessarily the energy I was hoping to receive.
Oh, nice and hot, which means we have to do. Actually, remember we have to do one of these. Stay tuned for us to open up that. So we moved everything from our pot, blended. It's now in our broth that we heated up. So we're really marinating all the flavors, and now we're gonna blend our garlic cloves and our almonds. I added a little bit of broth to make this, you know,
blend a little smoother.
Yeah, a little bit easier and not as aggressive. It's probably still gonna be aggressive, so. So now we just blended up our almonds and our garlic with a little bit of broth, and it's a nice soupy, ooh, smells delicious. So we're adding that in. And just keep in mind also that, like, everything is to taste. So if you know, say you're allergic to nuts, this isn't like necessarily a mandatory ingredient. Right. You can still make the soup without it.
Yeah, don't put your life at risk to include the almonds.
And you're going to see this is very, very soupy right now. That's because right now we're just going to cook in the flavors and let this cook before we add any dairy to thicken it up. So I don't know how much more it might reduce, but by the time we're done with everything, it will be much thicker than this. Hi, so.
Ew, you free?
So our soup has been cooking for a little bit. As you can see, it has reduced down quite a bit. We're thickening up. We're gonna start adding.
You actually can't really see it. The lighting over your stove is not.
I'm gonna brighten it. So we are gonna add a half of a brick of cream cheese to our soup, and we're gonna let that. We're gonna, you know, mix it.
Yeah, you definitely need to brighten that hoe because in person it's a really pretty like lime green kind of ish color, but on camera it looks kind of like baby poop.
Ew. So we're gonna stir this in.
Baby food, I guess, not baby poop. I don't know what that looks like.
We're gonna stir this in, smashing the cream cheese when we can, trying to like disperse it throughout. And this is gonna help you thicken up the soup. And then you're just gonna taste and add a little garlic salt or red pepper flakes as you please to taste. And we're gonna cook that for another minute or two. And then we're gonna throw it in the bowl. Now you can add half and half. I'm going to do that to taste. So if I think it's too spicy, I'll add a little half and half. If not, we'll just leave it with no half and half.
OMG, we have some exciting news.
We're ready to dig right in. Actually, you know what? Before we do this, I have one more thing that'll make it fabulous.
Of course, sea salt.
Well, this isn't just sea salt. This is black lava salt. So if you have any thick gray sea salt, which you should if you watch this channel, that would be a good topper. But we're just going to do a couple pinches of black salt to really get it going. Because we didn't add any salt.
Oh, sorry. And what exactly is the lava salt? Is it from a cave, a volcano?
Beats me.
It could be poison, and she's feeding it to us because she's so uneducated. All she knows is Frank Presenzano uses it.
So we covered our soup in the Calabrian Chili Oil. How is it? A little bit of black salt.
Ooh, I'm going to need to invest in some Calabrian oil because it's really, I've been having some great experiences with it lately.
Honestly, this is good.
Wow, what a glowing review.
Well, I mean, we just had this in Aspen.
I feel like you could have come up with a better adjective.
Well, I feel like we just had this in Aspen, so, like, I'm in my head comparing it to that. I feel like I really had to add a lot of, like, seasonings and stuff to make up for the fact that, like...
You forgot half the ingredients.
Yeah, I didn't know I forgot half the ingredients. Yogurt. So, honestly, and can you kind of taste the, like, nutty notes? I think I can, of the almond.
Well, if I couldn't taste the nutty notes, your personality certainly makes up for it. Oh my god, the way that would have been top tier shade, but I couldn't deliver the line.
Yeah.
I stuttered through it. I sound like Sheree from the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
This is honestly truly fabulous.
It is.
Such a unique flavor profile. So many different notes.
It is.
This will really impress some guests. It's you,
including Kenya.
And I kept. He wants some. Yager wants some. A way to make this a little bit more.
Oh my god, it's dripping down my
appealing. Say if you want to make it for your honey, and he needs a little more protein. He's not really into like a veggie soup. You can add some bacon bits to it.
Girl, that is not gonna make the cut if you're like needing meat. 3 bits of bacon ain't gonna fill you up.
Bacon definitely is a nice little. You can add that on. I feel like that would be a decent add-on to the soup. But honestly, that little bit of cream cheese was just what we needed to thicken this up and get it tones it down so it's not too aggressive. I think it's perfect. And I love it. You have never had a soup like this. I can promise you that.
No, I can promise you that. And if it doesn't look like I'm loving it because I'm not like scarfing it down, that's just not the case. And the truth is that it's 1 a.m.
And we're so full.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. We've been filming for hours, and I can't say that roasted poblano soup at 1 a.m. is the best decision right before you go to bed, if you catch my drift.
Oh.
So we'll just have a bite, and we'll have some tomorrow for leftovers. Good night, girls and boys. Don't forget to subscribe and have sweet dreams of your faves.
Your fave could... I'm not even going to get into your fave because...
Yeah, now they're going to have nightmares because you mentioned them.
Real hot girl shit.